It's Saturday, which means it's Saturday stories. So go get your drink, your snack, get bundled up, and let's begin my story. So today, I'm doing a I'm doing a story about how I almost was homeless. And in order to protect the identities of everyone in the story, I'm going to use different names for them. So first, I want to go all the way back to the beginning. And, living with my parents prior to graduating from high school and then graduating from college. There was a lot of arguing and a lot of fighting going on, and we didn't necessarily get along all the time. And so I often found myself really wanting to just get out. I didn't want to be there. I didn't want to continue to live my life that way. I wanted to be on my own. I wanted to go out and find my own apartment. And I graduated from high school in 2013. And, I was looking at colleges that I wanted to go into. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I wanted to go to a vocal singing college, and I was under the impression that I couldn't do that. I also have a passion for cooking and for bowling and, for all of these things. And so I had options. And I ended up going for cooking. And my dad was like, well, if you stay here, I will allow you to live here, basically rent-free, as long as you are going to college, and I will help you pay for college. And then when you graduate, you need to get a job, and we'll start talking about how you can help pay rent and everything. So I was like, okay, that's a good deal, because first of all, it's college. Going to college and having a job is very, very hard. And I learned just how hard that is going to college and seeing my classmates and other people who had that issue. And it's very hard to manage those things, because when you have that downtime for homework that literally for me took hours and sometimes days to complete, you're at work. So how do you balance that? So I took that offer. But lo and behold, when I was graduated from college, I was like, I'm ready. I'm doing this. I'm getting an apartment. And I told everybody that. And nobody believed me. Nobody believed that I was serious about moving out. And I was like, no, I'm legit doing this. This is what I want. I want to be out on my own. I cannot stay here physically for myself. And at the time I was talking to my boyfriend, Ed, and, he was having some issues that in his family that he wanted to resolve, and then he wanted to get away and everything. So we were like, well, if you're trying to move out and I'm trying to move out, why don't we just move out together? Whether that's where you live or whether that's where I live, then, we'll figure it out. And, so I started looking for apartments, and he was like, well, I have to move out in November. Or I have to at least want to wait until November. So I was like, okay, well, November is the moving date. So, we'll talk about this. And in my head, I was like, if I have things situated, because he was going to come to me in Colorado. And so I was like, okay, well, if I have my stuff squared away on my end, where I have my job situated and I have a place, then when you move out, all you have to do is move in. That way, so you're not moving out and have nowhere to go. So I was like, okay, well, I have to get a place by November. There is no way around that. And I'm not 100% sure that I made that very clear to all of my friends and stuff, because I didn't want to be criticized. And I was afraid of what they would say or what they would think about that. And so that was half the reason why I was like, November. It has to be around November. And the other half was I wanted to be out. I wanted to be on my own. And so I started looking for apartments. And I was getting you can't do this. You won't be able to make it. You can't do it on your own. This, that. If you're going to do this, you have to have a roommate. You all of these things. And I was like, I'm so glad that I have support in all of this, because it's something that I really want to do, and I didn't feel like I had any. And, Ed had taken like a week-long break or whatever, from me and from the world. He sold either his laptop or his cell phone so that he could make some money for his family, which is understandable, and it's doable. It's what has to happen sometimes. And that meant that he wasn't able to talk to me. And then he liked the life of being quote-unquote single. And then his mom got hurt. And between those two things, he was like, I'm not coming out anymore. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm still going to move out regardless if you're coming or not. So if you want to be with me and you want to move out, great. I'll have an apartment. If not, I'm doing this on my own. And I ended up having to do it on my own because we broke up. So I did it on my own. I moved out in 2016, but it was a little mini journey of actually being able to do that, because after he had moved out, I went and I talked to my friend Rose. And I was like, look, you and I have always wanted to live together. Now is our chance. I need a roommate. My parents don't think I can do it on my own. You've been saying that you want to move out, so let's do this. And, she was on board. She was like, okay, let's do it. Let's look for apartments. So she literally took me to all of these places, and we walked around and we looked at apartments. We went and we talked to them, and we got applications that we filled out. And, but when it came to when are you looking to move, I was right here, right now. I was by November. She was by this time next year. Or in 5 to 6 months. And I was like, no, right now. Right now. And I didn't necessarily take what she was telling me and go with it, because I was so in my own bubble. I was so in, this has to happen right now and it cannot wait. And looking back on it now, I feel like had I, took a step back and realized what was happening and what was going on and said, okay, I can wait this long, it probably would have gone a little smoother. But I didn't. And she kept looking with me and everything, and we finally found a place. And I was so excited. I was like, oh my god, I did this. I jumped up, I got ready to go, and I get a message from her. And it's her, like, the day we were going to go and sign the lease and give them the money in advance or whatever. It was either to hold the apartment or to start the process of us moving in. And she messaged me, and Rose told me that she couldn't do it. She wasn't in a place, she wasn't ready, and so she backed out of it. And I was like, I was severely hurt by it. I was like, I tried so hard. If you couldn't do it and you didn't want to do it, why would you take me to all of these places to look at them? Why would you wait until the day we're gonna go and do this to tell me that you're not doing it? So I was really, really hurt by that. And, I was like, I just lost Ed, and now I'm losing you, and now I'm back at square one, and I'm frustrated. So I was like, okay, well, what other friend can I go to that I know that I would like to move in with? And so I thought of my other best friend, Maury. And I went to her and I was like, we've known each other our entire lives. And this is something that we've always talked about. So are you okay with doing this? And she was like, yeah, I'm okay with doing this. I'm okay with doing this. And I was like, cool. I would talk about the apartments. She didn't want to talk about apartments. I would talk about going to look at apartments. She didn't want to talk about going to look at apartments. She didn't want to go look at apartments. I would talk about how we were going to save up money and, the cost in the area. She didn't want to talk about that. She didn't want to save up money. I was like, well, what if we lived in a townhome? What if, why don't you look at prices around your area? She didn't want to do that, so she didn't. And it got to the point where I was like, okay, you're telling me you want to move in with me, and I'm trying to do this now, but every suggestion I'm throwing at you, you don't want to do. We cannot move in together if we're not on the same page. And she was like, well, I'm on a leave of absence right now. I can't do any of it. So then it was a matter of, why would you tell me that we could do this and agree to doing this, but then you really can't? And she was like, oh, well, I want to move in, I just can't right now. So I was like, okay, well, I'm trying to move right now, so if you're not doing it, then we're not going to be roommates. And that's basically what happened. You know, I backed her out of it. And so that's 3 people right off the bat. And I was like, no, I cannot succumb to this feeling and this thought of, I can't do it. This is something that I want, and if I want to get there, I have to go and do it. And I had to stop and look at myself and see, okay, well, how do I get to those, you know, how do I get from here to there and where I want to be? So, you know, and obviously you're going to have setbacks, you're going to have those drawbacks that are going to push you back, and then you just have to get up and you have to step forward. And, you know, so I went to work, and I was on the phone with my dad, and I was talking about it, and I was kind of crying to him, and I was like, you know, I had this person, I had this person, I had this person, and they all backed out, and now I am at square one. I don't know what to do. And there was another girl who had recently just started, who was kind of like me. We didn't really talk to anybody. We didn't have friends. We went to work. We did our job, we went home, and that was the end of it. We didn't necessarily care if everybody else liked us, because I'm not there to make friends. I'm there to make money to be able to support myself. And, you know, I got off the phone and she was like, are you looking for a roommate or an apartment? And I was like, yes. And she was like, I am too. And we instantly, we clicked. And we were like, oh my God, I can help you, you can help me, whatever, we can do this. So her and we started to brainstorm. So Ruby and Ruby's her name, you know, we went and we looked at apartments. Ruby actually went with me and we set a date and we found a place. We actually found a place. So we were both excited. We were both having similar situations at home and similar situations at work. And, you know, in my head, I was like, what better roommate to have than someone you work with? Because you know what they're doing. You know when they're at work and when they're not at work. You know where they're going because you work there too. You know, and you know how much money they're making because you're making what they're making. So it's kind of like there's no secrets along that side. And we went and we signed the lease. However, all of that came with a small price and a bigger realization, life lesson for myself. Because right off the bat, I was learning that that was not the best decision that I could have made. I ended up having to pay her application fee. I had to pay the security deposit. I had to pay her first half of the first month's rent. I had to pay my own. And I was basically paying her entire portion of everything. She had the apartment because of me. So even though having her there gave me what I wanted, I was giving her everything. And I saw it as, oh, this is something great. We're doing this. I want to go about everything as smart as I can. Not realizing that I was not being as smart as I can. And, excuse me. So, you know, we moved out. We got the trailer. We got all of my stuff packed up. It was kind of hurtful because no one wanted to help me pack. To my sister, she was like, you know, helping you pack and helping you move out is like me holding the door open for you. And, oh, I'm gonna cry. It's so emotional. You know, her and I are really close. And, you know, whenever we had issues at home, it was each other that we went to. So when I left, I feel like that just broke her in ways that I cannot explain. And so for her to help me move out was like her opening the door and shoving me out. And she didn't want to do that, so she didn't help me do it. And, you know, I was in the headspace of, it doesn't matter. I'm upset that you're not helping me, but I'm getting out. I'm getting my own place. I'm moving forward in my life. And I wanted to take her with me, but I couldn't. And everything seemed great at first. Everything seemed amazing at first. So, it's just the realization that slowly started to go downhill. However, I will get into that into the next video. I'm all out of time right now, and if you enjoyed the beginning of this story, I do have more, lots more that I'm going to share with you. So please remember to subscribe and hit the bell notification so that when I upload part 2 to this story, you will get it. Leave me a comment, hit the like button, and I will see you guys next Saturday.